Bienvenidos a Contralona TV, soy Tatiana Jiménez. En esta ocasión tenemos un programa bien especial. Tenemos a los muchachos desde Nueva York. Chicos, yo estoy aquí en el estudio grabando, pero no se preocupen. Ellos nos van a estar hablando sobre lo que es el fin de semana del año de Lucha Libre. Nos van a dar toda la información de lo que está sucediendo allá, así que los dejo con ustedes allá en Nueva York. Invítenme para la próxima, invítenme. Adelante, muchachos.
Gracias, Tatiana, y saludos a todos ustedes fanáticos que nos están viendo aquí en Contralona TV. Soy Joel Torres y estamos en directo desde el Madison Square Garden, donde Ring of Honor y New Japan Pro Wrestling están celebrando su histórico G1 Supercard aquí. Y aquí en Contralona TV te vamos a traer muchas cosas en exclusiva que vas a estar viendo sobre lo que pasó en Festival of Honor y también aquí dentro de la cartelera G1 Supercard. Los dejamos aquí con este gran especial en directo desde New York City, aquí en Contralona TV.
Con nosotros, Joe Koff, C.O.O. de Ring of Honor, Taven, actual campeón mundial de Ring of Honor y de sangre boricua, Klein, actual campeona femenina de Women's of Honor, de Briscoes y mucho pero mucho más.
This is one of those arenas that all wrestlers aspire to. On the first day they enter a ring, they go, one of these days I want to stand and have a match at the Madison Square Garden.
He tenido una formación y una preparación sumamente estricta y rigurosa para el encuentro del día de mañana y estoy contento porque sé que mañana dejaré todo arriba de ese cuadrilátero.
Inicié en México sin que la gente creyera en mí y he logrado convencer al público latino. Igual inicié en New Japan cuando la gente no confiaba en mí y he estado convenciendo al público de Japón y ahora lo estoy haciendo aquí en Estados Unidos. Tratar de convencer a toda esa gente que voltee a ver a toda la gente, a todos los luchadores de aquí de Estados Unidos, pero que volteen a ver a Dragon Lee. Sé que el día de mañana, después de esta gran función, mucha gente va a voltear a verme y va a voltear a ver a los luchadores mexicanos que siempre venimos aquí a dar el corazón y el alma y partirnos arriba del ring. Eso, arriba México. Y mañana voy a tener ese cinturón aquí, porque todos los sueños, todo lo que me he propuesto, lo he cumplido. Y para mí, lo imposible, lo hago posible. Mañana es mi día.
Okay, so Kelly Klein, this is your first time here wrestling for Ring of Honor at the Garden. How do you feel?
I'm very excited. I've never been more ready. I've been getting ready as I do for every event, but for this one, there's just been that extra motivation, that extra push. So I'm very, very excited and very ready.
You're going to challenge Mayu Iwatani for the Ring of Honor Wrestling Women's Championship. What do you feel about that, and what are your expectations for this match?
This match means a lot because Mayu and I have faced each other 4 times. I beat her twice, she beat me twice. So this is the tiebreaker. And on top of that, it's also a Women of Honor World Championship match. So when I defeat her, not only will I show that I am the better of the two, but I will also come out the women's champion.
Any challengers that you want to wrestle in the future if you win the World Championship?
I've always been a fighting champion, and I have always promised to defend my championship every time I face somebody in the ring, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. So I want to see the best that women's wrestling has to offer, and I want people that will challenge me and push me to be better and better, and honestly prove how good I am.
Joe Koff, we are only hours away for G1 Supercard. How do you feel right now?
I'm really very excited. I'm very anxious. It's a very surreal moment for me to think that Ring of Honor in its short period of time is playing in this building and that I was able to steward that ship to get us here.
No pun intended, but have you ever thought that Ring of Honor Wrestling could be here at the most important arena, maybe in New York City in the United States?
I feel that the real answer is that we're worthy to be in Madison Square Garden. the opportunity afforded ourselves to be able to play in Madison Square Garden. But we've always been worthy of it because our wrestling is probably the premier wrestling in America, maybe the world.
How does this alliance with New Japan Pro Wrestling, of course, and CMLL and other companies have helped Ring of Honor, to be more exposed to the pro wrestling business and the fans?
I think the reason why it's so successful is that all three brands really stand on their own, but they're so similar in ideology and the way they store and their continuity and just the way they run their businesses that it makes sense for us to be associated with each brand because we support each other's brands. We're not competing necessarily with each other's brands, and that's what's special about that.
Is there any match that when you enter the Madison Square Garden, comes to your mind, remembering when you were here as a fan in the past?
I've seen so many. I've seen Bruno Sammartino defend his title so many times. I've saw Gorilla Monsoon's entrance into the business, his first match in New York. There are so many memorable matches with Killer Kowalski. Now I'm dating myself because that's when I was a young boy. That's who was wrestling. So the one match I probably remember the most, that I talk about the most, was a match between Hans Mortier, who was the German giant or whatever he called himself, against Edouard Carpentier, who was the Flying Frenchman. And that match was just spectacular. I can almost tell you exactly what it went like to this day. And it was probably 50 years ago, maybe more.
Do you think that with this door open in the Madison Square Garden, we could see maybe in the future Ring of Honor wrestling in a big stadium?
I didn't think we'd be in Madison Square Garden, so for me to think about a big stadium is probably a little too much for me right now. But again, if everything was right and it made sense to do that, and we could support the business fundamentals for a show like that, why not?
Great, that's awesome. Last question. I asked you this last year, I will ask you again. Is there any chance that in the future we can see Ring of Honor wrestling in Puerto Rico?
I know we've seen some Ring of Honor stars in Puerto Rico. We don't have TV down there, so that helps us when we make our decisions on where to run. So I guess anything's possible. I will tell you, not in 19. We'd have to look to 20 for that.
To end this interview, a message to all the fans in Puerto Rico and around the world that are watching you right now.
Please keep supporting us and love us, because we love you.
Son muchas las estrellas internacionales que han pasado por aquí en el Madison Square Garden. Entiéndase música, actuación, pero sobre todo lucha libre. Óyeme, y en esta arena han luchado estrellas como el acróbata de Puerto Rico Carlitos Colón, el Invader número 1, el Sultán José Luis Rivera, José Estrada, los Conquistadors. O sea, muchísimas superestrellas se han dado cita aquí en el Madison Square Garden, y esta no es la excepción cuando Ring of Honor está celebrando aquí por primera vez lo que es el G1 Supercard. Así que vamos a seguir dando una vueltita por ahí a conocer más del Madison Square Garden. You've been representing Ring of Honor for a lot of years right now. What do you guys think about this alliance that Ring of Honor and New Japan obviously and CMLL are working with right here in the Garden?
It's amazing. It's great. It's great for everybody. The fans win. The wrestlers win because we get to wrestle each other, man. And the top, competition brings out the best in everybody, man. And I love it.
Yeah, man. I think that we need to even build more upon it. Like, we got Ring of Honor, we got New Japan, CMLL, Rev Pro title is being defended with Zack Sabre and Tanahashi. Like, I just think that if this is a chance, this is a spot in the history of professional wrestling where if we run with this alliance, I mean, we could be having pay-per-views from Corrigan Hall with Ring of Honor guys, CMLL guys. You know what I mean? We had York Hall in London. You know what I mean? Arena, Mexico. Like, there's no limits to the combinations and all the stuff that we could do. The NWA later on this month, the Crockett Cup is back. So there's another player. Like, I mean, it's just exciting being a wrestling fan first and foremost.
So where was the first time that you guys visited the Madison Square Garden?
What's that? I'm sorry.
What?
Oh, well, this is the first time I've ever been in here. Yep. I ain't never been in here before, man. I mean, I've been across the street, you know, at Manhattan Center, Hammerstein Ballroom. That's the same building, right? Upstairs, downstairs. Yep. The New Yorker. That was the other one. Yeah.
We took the train up one time, and we came up. We came up Penn Station, which is underneath, and we just came right out on the street. But we ain't never come up going to the arena. But yeah.
You know, talking about you guys growing up as fans, any tag teams that come up to your mind that you can say they influenced you to be pro wrestlers today?
I think there's multiple.
I mean,
there is.
I don't want. I feel bad for even start listening because I feel like I would leave somebody out, man. Like, I was a big Nasty Boys fan. Nasty Boy, you know, like just something about them, man. Like they just came down there and they just beat you up. I mean, there's a lot of them. Now I feel like I got to start naming names, man. But Dudley Boys was big. Bubba and Devon, just the atmosphere they created.
Steiners, man, love the Steiners. I mean, Demolition, you know, of course the Road Warriors. I mean, and Sabu and RVD, like. The gangsters, Public Enemy, the Eliminators, yup. I mean, so many teams, man. And that's the thing, you gotta glean, like it says in the word, you gotta glean a little bit here, a little bit there, you know what I mean? Take a little bit from Public Enemy and take a little bit from the Nasty Boys, you know, take a little bit from the Steiner brothers, and then you got this beautiful thing that is unique in its own, you know?
Yeah.
So you guys always wanted to be like a tag team, or when in your beginnings you wanted, you know, wrestle as individuals?
I would say, like I guess, I mean, I don't know.
We started out as singles wrestlers in the backyard.
In the backyard. And our first match ever, it was scheduled to be me versus him, but then we did the old run in. Here come the bad guys, and turned into a tag match. But I mean, I guess we just was naturally, you know, made to be a tag team. But I mean,
we started out as singles wrestlers.
Like you mentioned that it's funny because
if it wasn't for Wilmington, Delaware, back in May 20th, 2000, if it wasn't for the fabulous Mozart Fontaine and Mr. Ooh La La, then maybe the Briscoe Brothers tag team would never exist.
Like when I was just thinking, like when we would wrestle in the backyard and like our buddies would come over, like we would never be on the same team against our buddies. It would always be me and some buddies versus him and some buddies. Like it was always me versus him.
La fotografía no puede cambiar tu realidad, pero sí mostrarla.
So we are backstage here at Madison Square Garden, which is a historic building for us in the island. And by my side is Kelly Klein, the beautiful Kelly Klein. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. And what does it mean to be here at Madison Square Garden for you?
It's so exciting. It's such an amazing venue that has so much history, and to be performing in a place that so many amazing people have performed is really a huge honor.
Is there any women's wrestler that has been inspiration for you?
I mean, that's such a difficult question because there are so many, every woman who has just paved the way for us and made all of these things possible. No matter what, they have all put themselves out there and just pushed the line forward so that we have more opportunities. And, I appreciate every single one of them. So we've started Women of Honor relaunch about 4 years ago, and we've just been progressively moving forward and moving up and just building momentum. And we've come so far in that amount of time, but we are not done. We've got so much more to do, and I can't wait to be part of that.
Your thoughts, on performing in one of the most historic arenas in the world?
I mean, this is where I thought I would always be. Since I was 6 years old, I wanted to be a wrestler, and there are certain places I wanted to check off the list, and Madison Square Garden obviously was there. So, from day one, my goal was to be here at Madison Square Garden. Now you put it in the world title match and a ladder match at Ring of Honor's biggest show, hey, that's even better for me. I've been waiting for the moment to shut up all the critics, shut up all the Melvins, and is there a better place to do that than in Madison Square Garden? So for me, it's like all the stars have aligned. Here's the title, here's the best arena in the world, and here's the best wrestler in the world. And that's the way it should be.
And you're facing Jay Lethal, actually he's the world champion, Briscoes. And it's going to be a ladder match, as you said, and the ladder match has history here at the Madison Square Garden.
I've been a wrestling fan my entire life. There's been a million other ladder matches take place here and a million other just great matches. And to think I'm going to put my name on that list with all those other great matches here in Madison Square Garden is something that I've wanted my entire life. There's been, since, I was a kid, and moving all my parents' furniture and acting like I'm the champ here in Madison Square Garden, that's the moment I've been preparing for. So it's like you've worked your entire life for this moment. There's only one way this story ends. It's with Matt Taven at the top of a ladder, pulling down the Ring of Honor World Championship in the mecca of it all.
Last time we talked, you told me that you have family in Puerto Rico. Your family's from Puerto Rico.
Of course, and my mom just called too to check up to see how it's going. And the Puerto Rican side of my family, my mom's side, they're huge wrestling fans. They've been following everything that's been going on. They're super excited about this. There's been so many people that have supported me, whether they're friends, families, fans, and so many people that have really pushed me to keep going. And now I walk out of Madison Square Garden, and for me, I feel like I'm walking out with all those people with me. So whether it's, I'm representing the island, whether it's, I'm representing my family, my friends, you know what I mean? We made it. I grew up in a small town, and now I'm headlining Madison Square Garden. You can't really ask for a better story than that.
Chicos, no se puede, yo estoy aquí siempre en el estudio. Tienen que llevarme el año que viene a Tampa. Nos vamos todos para allá a grabar y la vamos a pasar brutal. Así que, anyway, ya ustedes saben qué vamos a hacer para el año que viene. Antes de culminar, quiero recordarles que se suscriban a nuestro canal de YouTube. Síguenos a través de nuestras distintas redes sociales como Facebook, Twitter e Instagram. Para que te enteres de lo último en la lucha libre, síguenos a través de Contralona.com. Me despido por este momento, pero los veo en la próxima en Contralona, conectando la lucha libre contigo.